Hello there, greetings and good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you all here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this channel. Tonight, we're doing an episode of What's New. We'll be featuring a band called Iconic. This is their second album, simply titled 2. They're considered a hard rock band, really, but definitely have that commercial metal sound going pretty good, though, too. So this album was released July 31st, 2026, about 44, almost 45 minutes in length. So just at the edge of my wheelhouse, where I like between 35 and 45 in length. So they're just at the edge of that on the Frontiers record label. The band consists of Alessandro Del Vecchio on backing vocals and keyboards. He played in a lot of bands as a session musician. I assume. Sorry, couldn't get these words together in my mouth there. You got Tommy Aldridge, drummer. Has played with Ozzy, Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, Ted Nugent, and a bunch of other people as well. Marco Mendoza, of course, on bass, also playing with Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, Nugent, and David Lee Roth, and Bill Ward, and probably others as well. Joel Hoekstra on guitars, except Whitesnake and Foreigner, amongst other bands. Michael Harrison Sweet on vocals, guitars. So he's been with Stryper, and he's been with Boston, amongst, I think there's been a few other bands that I'm not as familiar with. Nathan James on vocals. Inglorious is where he came from. So this is what they call a super band. And nowadays, anybody who comes from a band that actually played music on an album somewhere is considered a member of a new super band. That's just the way they do it. That's okay. I don't mind it. So I think there's 11 tracks in total here. The deluxe version, I believe, has a bunch of what they call bonus tracks that are live on it as well. So to me, this band smells of Whitesnake. There's a lot of a strong Whitesnake flavor to it, not the least of which is the vocalist, who I think very, very well within that Coverdale sound. He has the same kind of smooth sounding, mid to high range voice with a lot of the kind of personality that Coverdale gives off on the music. Yeah, definitely has that going on. The music itself is very commercial, kind of hard rock, heavy metal sound, very Whitesnake-ish like. Yeah, definitely there's a lot of that here. It does have some other sounds in it too. But overall, I think this is, they could literally be a repeat of a Whitesnake album here, in my opinion. And I know that there's people out there that don't hear it the same way. That's fine. Everybody hears things differently. I'm not going to chastise anybody for it. I think that if you like Whitesnake, though, you're going to like this a lot. I did like Whitesnake when I was growing up. Mostly got into them around the commercial flavor of their 87 album. And but I've since, I wouldn't say I've outgrown it, because that would be an insult. I'm just not into that style of music as much as I once was. And there's a lot of it out there. Some of it really good. And that's why I chose to do this video. So the first track up is called Cry No More. A little over between 4 and 4.5 minutes in length. Catchy but heavy guitar riffs here. With a solo-like riff that accompanies it. So you got a couple of riffs going here. The vocals are clear, mid-range, very Coverdale-like. The other vocals, a multi-chorus kind of vocal parts. So this is the backing vocals, if you prefer. Heavy commercial sound on the track, and the solo is really good and also very commercial sounding. This is one of the better tracks, though. Next up is All I Want. It's maybe the best track on the album. I like it the best. Nice heavy opening. The vocals multi and mid-range are multi and singular vocals, both in the mid-range. Lead vocals are very strong, forward, mid to high range as well, and some heavy, fast-paced track here. I do kind of like this one. It's got that very up-tempo kind of sound that is appealing. Next song is called Open My Eyes. This is a catchy, heavy guitar riff, fast, forward in the drums. The solo is like a second guitar, and the vocals again clear and forward, mid to high in range. The second solo is very melodic but clear, and then there's a couple of multi-solo parts as well, so there's quite a few solos on this track. So those first three tracks, I think, are the strongest three on the album. Very nice start to the album, and it begins to deteriorate after that. Not overtly right away, but it does start to go down, in my opinion. It might not even be that it deteriorates as much as it's just the same repetition, and my brain isn't just not remembering the songs as being as good as maybe they are because I've already heard them 3 times already. Next up is Tears Keep Falling. This is a slow melodic guitar riff with some and part opening in the part of the opening, and the vocals are lower in range. The riff is very heavy on this track. Commercial love, like somber, like ballad here. So this is in that ballad range, but a heavier ballad. So I guess we would call this a power ballad. Yeah, you could call it that. That would be a good term for it. It's about 3.5 minutes in length, so one of the shorter tracks. Next up is just over 4 minutes. Take Me to the Place, fast-paced and heavy guitar riff here, with some whiny, like melodic soloing. The vocals clear, mid-range, and actually a little bit scratchy, but more of a metal sound to them. A very commercial track as well. So that's the front half of the album. Back half of the album really starts to kind of go downhill here for me. And I think it's not that the songs are better or worse than the front half of the album. It's just that they're somewhat repetitious, so I don't find them as memorable. I guess that's the best way to put it. SOS is the next song. It's a little over 3 minutes, shortest track on the album. Slow, melodic, almost anthem-like sound. The vocals are clear, mid to high range. The multi-vocals, however, are more dominant, I think, on this track. Next one up is just over 4 minutes, Nothing Left for Me. Slow, melodic, up-tempo guitar, soloing opening. And then you got a driving melodic guitar riff. The vocals clear, clean, again, Coverdale-like. The vocals clear, melodic, background vocals, that is. Next is Far Away. Another song just between halfway between 4 and 4.5 minutes in length. Typical sound for this album. That's about normal length for their songs. This one, Far Away, slow melodic guitars to open. The vocals are clear, mid to high range. Not particularly memorable. One of probably the least memorable tracks on the album, to be honest. Next up is Valley of the Souls. It's a little bit better than the previous 3 songs. Faster up-tempo guitar part with some synchronized kind of riffing going on here. The vocals clear, once again, a Coverdale-like sound. The background vocals are dominant again at time. This one's a little bit more memorable. I kind of like this song a little bit. Next up is Written to the Stars. Slow, melodic, but heavy guitar. Vocals are emotionally charged, mid to high range. Another commercial song and not terribly memorable. And then the final track on the album, which I think is a little bit, maybe the best track on the back half of the album. Not a great track, but better than all the other ones, I think. A slow, low bass keyboard part at the beginning, so that's different to begin with, so that makes it a little more memorable. The vocals were melodic, mid to high range, but clear. Some catchy riffing here, some heavy riffing, beefy riffing actually, a solo, fast-paced metal-like sound. So this song I think maybe the most metal-like of all the tracks on the album. Maybe that's why I liked it a little more than the other ones before it. Not 100% sure. Overall, though, it was a decent album. So if you like Whitesnake, that 87 or the next album out in their discography, I think this album will fit well into that. It's got a lot of similarity. I wish the drums were a little better on this album, despite Tommy Aldridge being the drummer here. There was a couple of parts where he was prominent, and I think if they'd given him more prominence, I think I might have been more into the album. Even Mendoza, the bass wasn't as forward as I would like. If those two that rhythm section had been more dominant, I think I would have liked the album more overall. Still, it's not a bad album. I recommend it for people who like that commercial sounding metal, hard rock metal sound that was prominent in the 80s. I think you'll like this quite a bit. And that's my take on this album. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to make any comments about Iconic or the album 2, you can do that in the comment section below. If you want to make any comments about the musicianship on the album, you can do that. It's very strong musicianship. Lots of good players here. Anyways, take care. Have yourself a good night and a good evening, and goodbye here from the Prog Monster.